Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks. I'm playing for these series of videos I've been doing for a little while now. Go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat the stuff, I drink stuff that, folks, I'm talking about stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. I cannot express enough. It is not yet spring. But we'll get to that. Folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my truck. And whilst I'm doing all that, I'm wearing grody work clothes. Typically, when I'm inside the truck and I'm wearing grody work clothes, that means I was on my way home from work and I found some shit to review for you. And that's not the case. I actually picked these up a couple days ago. I was out and about and hit up a gas station, and I kind of figured they'd probably be out relatively soon, even though, again, I have to express it is not spring. But I found them, sure enough. What are they? Boom! It is Red Bull, the Spring Edition, 2025, Grapefruit and Blossom Energy Drink. Ooh. Let's get a thing for the thing here. Let's kind of do this, and we'll go, sure. So yeah, man, I've reviewed plenty of the Red Bull stuff. I'm not huge on basic Red Bull, but I do like a lot of their flavors. And actually, the winter edition that they just did for 2024, I really enjoyed. I did review that. You can look it up if you're interested. But now we got the spring version, even though, again, it sure as shit ain't spring yet. So, but they're getting ready for it, I guess. Okay. Okay. This will be interesting, I think, because grapefruit, very strong, very striking flavor. Blossom, I'm guessing they're aiming for like a floral kind of vibe. Let's give it a go. Okay. All right. I had a little stank on it. Let's give it a go again. Okay. All right. Interesting, but not as interesting as I was thinking. So the grapefruit actually worked really well with the base Red Bull flavor because the base Red Bull flavor is already sort of a citrusy kind of thing, you know. So taking the grapefruit, layering it on top, it's really just kind of, you know, putting one thing on top of another that's already really similar. So, yeah, so it has a nice citrusy vibe. It has a nice kind of bite to it. It reminds me a little bit. They had one flavor. I think it would like want to say it came out last year. I think it was like the apricot edition or some shit like that. Kind of reminds me a little bit of that. It has like that striking citrus vibe. The good part about it is that the combination of the Red Bull flavor and the grapefruit flavor kind of cancel each, well, they don't exactly cancel each other out, but they take away the worst parts of those elements, at least in my opinion. Because I'm not a big grapefruit fan. Grapefruit fan. Grapefruit fan. Not a big grapefruit fan. You know, it's just, it's too kind of tart, and it's such a striking flavor, but when used appropriately, I think it's wonderful. In this case, you do get some of that. Mostly what you're getting is the citrus hit, but you do get a little bit of that sort of like almost quasi-bitter grapefruit flavor, but it's really sort of just at the tail end, so it's not like overly prominent. And then whereas with the Red Bull flavor, again, it's kind of a general citrusy sort of vibe. But I don't know, I've just never enjoyed the way that it kind of rests on my palate. With this, though, I think the extra bite from the grapefruit, it kind of opens it up a little bit. It doesn't taste as heavy to me. And it's kind of nice. Like, I do like an energy drink Yeah, that end hit, man. That's where you get the that's where you get the grapefruit. Um, I like an energy drink that has some oomph to it, like, I mean, yeah, I want the caffeine and, all the shit that's terrible for you that helps keep you awake, but, like, I want it to have, some oomph to it also. And this has that. The one thing I will say that I'm missing is the blossom. I was really, because I was interested to see how are they going to blend, again, such a striking flavor with a more subdued flavor. And the answer is, I don't think the blossom really plays much of a role. I guess maybe there's a little something there. It's kind of hard to distinguish if it's just sort of a holdover from some of the kind of fruity vibes, um, or if it's that blossom aspect, that somewhat floral, kind of merging with some of that. I'm not going to say that it's not there, but I will say you do have to kind of search to find it, and it's not. Yeah, I don't know. I think that you could have pretty much recreated this particular flavor without the blossom, and it probably would have been like 90% similar. I don't feel like the blossom's doing enough. Although maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's the linchpin that's making this enjoyable for me. Maybe that's evening things out. But it doesn't have like, the kind of earthy notes or floral notes that I was expecting. Maybe a very slight undertone, but I do like it overall. Even that kind of wincing grapefruit flavor at the end, I do kind of like. It gives it, as long as it's just there and then it goes away, I do like that aspect of it. All right, well, two questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? Sure and sure. I don't like it nearly as much as I like the winter one. I really like that one. I thought that one was fantastic. I got that one a few times. This one, it's not bad. I can get the spring aspect of it. Like I can see how it vibes with that season that we're not presently in. Um, but I do have to admit, I'm not as impressed with it as I was hoping. Because again, I really wanted those flavors, excuse me again, to stand out. And whereas I feel like the grapefruit aspect does a great job of that, and I think they did a smart means of utilizing the grapefruit so that it wasn't abrasive to me. I feel like the blossom just really, it's just not playing a big enough role, and that's a shame because I really wanted that to be a cool part of this. But I do still like it overall, so I think I would get it again. Maybe just, but again, it wouldn't be a standout like the winter one was. Um, and if I'm recommending it, I mean, look, it's a limited time thing. These are kind of a bit of fun. I'm always for, limited edition stuff. I think it's kind of cool. I think if you run into one, if it seems interesting to you, give it a go. Again, even I think, if you're like me where you're not a big grapefruit fan, I feel like this one you could probably let it slide. Because ultimately, like I said, I think the overall flavor profile on it is nice, and it has some character to it, which I appreciate. But anyway, 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your folks. Go over there themselves are truly spring has sprung-tastic rest of your life. Sure, I guess lots of people like spring. I like spring to a point. I like it more than summer, but like not as much as fall. So, final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do it all the time. I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Now, folks, not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there, whenever possible, take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, what's your favorite season? Like I said, I'm firmly a fall guy, man. I think fall is just the best. It's when the weather is like the most conducive to my personal temperatures. I also like the fact that, I know some people, they get like seasonal depression and stuff. Yeah, for me personally, man, like fall and even to a lesser extent winter, I don't know, man. They kind of open me up a little bit, sort of brighten my mood. Whereas with like spring and summer, I don't know. There's fun to be had there, but like it's just hot and ugh. But let me know your personal experience.